This is WBRC Fox 6 Law Call.
Hello and welcome to Law Call. We've got the answers to your legal questions. Here's what's coming up tonight. In our caller segment, we're going to be talking about benefits due to military veterans. So has your VA claim been denied? Can you appeal, and how can a lawyer help you? Give us a call tonight with your calls and your questions. Our phone line is open. That number is 855-LAW-1955. We're also going to explain why you'll want to an experienced attorney on your side if you make a wrongful death claim. But first, we have personal injury attorney Ken Riley. He's here to take a look at one of your email questions, and tonight's question comes from Karen, and Karen writes in saying, I was driving through heavy rain, slid off the road and hit a parked car on the shoulder. Well, turns out that car was abandoned. I was injured. Will my insurance company cover this?
Maybe. Depends on what kind of insurance you have. Most people go to their agent and they purchase liability coverage, or they say they get full coverage. And full coverage can mean a lot of different things. Full coverage can mean just liability coverage, and maybe there's some rental, maybe there's some UIM. But is there collision coverage? Is there comprehensive coverage? In this particular scenario, your liability policy is not going to cover you. If you've got full coverage, meaning you've got that collision coverage and it doesn't matter who causes the wreck, who's at fault, then you can recover, even if you caused the wreck. But if not, then your insurance is probably not going to cover.
All right, we hope that helps you out. If you need more information, go to WBRC.com and click on the Law Call link, or go to deliveringjustice.com for more information. Well, welcome into the show. Of course, we're all gearing up to celebrate tomorrow all of our wonderful veterans. And so in light of the holiday coming, we're going to talk to you tonight about veterans benefits. So what are your rights if you're a veteran, and how do you make sure you file a claim, and what constitutes as a claim? So all of that and much more, we'd love to hear from you tonight. Ken Riley, again, is going to be our host attorney, and I'm going to let Ken introduce our guest.
Sure. Thanks, Tiffany. Look, this is a really complicated area of the law. You have to have a specialist to be able to do this. Tonight, we've got Doug Friedman on. He's someone who we'll talk a little bit about this, but he practices all over the country doing these types of cases for veterans. So, Doug, thank you for being here tonight.
It's my pleasure.
We've got a special day tomorrow, and maybe there's some veterans out there that could use a little tip here or there.
Yes, sir. Well, a lot of them don't know what they have to do to prove a claim, and I hope I can explain some of that tonight.
Sure. Well, before we get into that, will you talk to our viewers just a little bit about your practice and what it means to be a veterans benefits attorney?
Well, if a veteran is injured while he's in the military, or if he gets sick while he's in the military, they're entitled to get compensation for that. It can happen years later, like for instance, if you were exposed to chemicals in the service, like if you were exposed to Agent Orange, or you were exposed to the burn pits in Southwest Asia, and then you get a multiplicity of diseases later on. Those diseases are covered. So you don't necessarily have to actually get sick in the service. It can be years later if you can trace your problem back to the service. For instance, with PTSD, if you were exposed to a bomb in the service, or blood and guts, or whatever it was that has left a mark on you, you can get compensated for that years and years later. I've had clients that were fine and then were walking down the street in Tuscaloosa and they heard a backfire, and that triggered everything the comeback that they had in the service, and they were in the hospital for 3 months. Those kind of things. Also, if your spouse dies and they're service connected for certain diseases, it's possible that you could also get a survivor's benefit.
So we were talking before the show, and you explained that it doesn't necessarily have to be a combat injury or an injury that someone sustained just because they were in the military. Talk to our viewers about that.
Yeah, I think that the vets themselves know usually that they don't have to actually be in combat to be compensated, but everybody else in their family probably doesn't know that. And when you talk like this to a group, a lot of times people who are not vets will come up to me afterwards and say, do you mean that blah, blah, blah is true? And I say yes, and then and then their family can get benefits, or they go back to their grandfather or their father or their spouse and say, you know, you can get benefits for this. Yes, it doesn't have to be combat related. If you get sick, before we came on the air, you asked about cancer. What if you get cancer when you're in the service? Yeah, if you're in the service and you get cancer, then that's compensable. And then you asked me, why is that? And I said, I don't know why. That's just what the law is.
Because that's what the law is.
That's what the law says.
I like that. It's good law.
All right, fair enough. Let's see if we can squeeze in a caller. Larry in Tuscaloosa tonight. Hey, Larry, welcome in.
Hi, how are you? Hey. Excuse me, how y'all doing this evening?
We're good.
Great.
I have a quick question here. Number one, I don't know whether you specialize in SMC or not, and what is SMC for folks who don't know, and a lot of people don't, even some of the, believe it or not, service officers. That's a special monthly compensation. And I would like to know from him, you know, what is the highest level of monthly compensation for SMC, and also what is a statutory award? And I'm going to hang up and listen, if y'all don't mind.
So SMC is an extra benefit that you can get. There are certain requirements to get it. It's only $350 a month. That, no matter what SMC you usually qualify for. It's usually $350 a month. There are some others, depending on the extent of your injuries. You can actually get $500, $600, $700 a month. It's all in the statute, in the regulations. They have all different things: 2 eyes, you know, 2 legs, whatever it might be. But it's usually about $350 a month for housebound. Housebound is $350 a month. The maximum benefit that you can get for 100% disability is about $3,100, $3,200 a month. And that doesn't count dependents. If you have children, you can, and a spouse, you can add on to that. But just the veteran alone, the maximum benefits usually going to be about $3,100, $3,200 a month.
Okay. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more of your calls and questions, so stay with us.
When you or a loved one is injured in an accident and need help, there are many attorneys to choose from.
We recommend contacting your local family attorney for advice on who to choose. It doesn't cost you anymore, and you know you can trust your local family lawyer.
Whether they helped you with a criminal matter, a bankruptcy, divorce, or disability, give them a call first. We are Ferris, Riley, and Pitt, and we are trying to help you get the best result for your case.
WBRC Fox 6 Law Call with award-winning broadcaster Tiffany Bittner. And from the Birmingham law firm of Ferris, Riley, and Pitt, personal injury attorney Kirby Ferris, a proven advocate known for his aggressive courtroom skills. Personal injury attorney Ken Riley, practical, professional, recognized by Birmingham Magazine as one of Birmingham's top attorneys, plus guest attorneys from across Alabama. Your rights, your calls, live.
Wrongful death is an extremely serious legal claim that is generally handled by an experienced personal injury attorney. Kirby Ferris explains in tonight's legal brief.
What would happen to your family if you were killed in an accident? Alabama's wrongful death law may help cushion the financial hardship of your loss and see that your loved ones are compensated for you not being there. A wrongful death claim may be brought if the death is caused by the deliberate, reckless, or negligent actions of another. In Alabama, our wrongful death law is unlike any other in the country. You need to have a lawyer who knows and understands wrongful death law in Alabama to be successful with your claim. Wrongful death cases aren't easy, but they can make all the difference in the world to your family if you're not there for them. That's my legal brief for tonight. I'm personal injury attorney Kirby Ferris with Ferris, Riley, and Pitt. Back to you guys.
We're talking about veterans' rights and benefits tonight. We have several folks lined up that have questions, so let's go to Elizabeth in Woodlawn. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, what's your question tonight?
Oh, my husband has PTSD, and he's getting so I have to help him more now. Is there some kind of spousal? Someone had told me that you can get like $2,500 a month like spousal support or something. Because like in the bathtub where he liked hot water, I went in there. I thought I was ironing and went in, and he was still in the bathtub, and the water was cold. He was just so I changed it out and helped him with his bath, and he's getting so sometimes he don't do for himself like he used to.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, so there are benefits available if you have to take care of your husband, he can't take care of himself. I don't deal with those kind of benefits. We just deal with compensation for injuries and diseases. What I would suggest you do is go to the DAV or the VFW and ask them about that. There'll be veteran service officers there that are familiar. Also, you can go to your county Department of Veterans Affairs. In a lot of the courthouses around the state, they have a representative that's a state employee for the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs, and they also could help you.
Thank you, and we wish you the very best. Let's see, we have T and Tarrant tonight, so hello, welcome in.
Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Hi. I have a question to ask you. My husband is deceased, but he was a Vietnam veteran, and I'm trying to see if there are benefits that I can get off of him since he's deceased.
Was he service-connected for any diseases or injuries?
He was a disabled veteran.
Well, but if he could be disabled veteran, but not necessarily service-connected. You can be disabled.
It wasn't service-connected.
So his disease or injury would have to be service-connected for you to have a chance to get a benefit that's called a dependence benefit from the VA.
All right, thank you for your call.
Doug, would that have to cause the death?
You know, that's a really good question. The law says that it has to contribute to the death.
Okay.
So say you have diabetes,
Yeah.
which affects your whole body system, and you die from a heart attack. Well, you wouldn't think that diabetes would cause a heart attack, but if you speak to the veteran's doctor, they might say, well, his diabetes weakened his entire body. It was his whole body, all his body systems were weakened by the diabetes, and therefore the diabetes contributed to his heart attack.
So service-related, and then also contributed to death.
Right, so you need a doctor. A lot of people don't realize that you have to have a doctor. You have to have a current medical condition, you have to have an event or injury in the service or something that causes your medical condition, and then you have to have a doctor connect the two things together. And that's the part that a lot of people don't realize. And we were talking again before we came on the air, that everybody that calls me, I have no doubt that they have the disease that they say that they have, but can I prove that something happened in the service? Do we have a doctor that will connect them? And most of the time we ask the treating physicians.
Gotcha.
All right, let's see. We've got Charles next, calling in Inslee. Hello there. Welcome in.
Hello. How you doing?
Hey, Charles.
Yes. I have a question I wanted to ask. When my father was a young man, he was in the military, and he did about 2 years in the military when he was a young man. And my father died in 2005. And I'm his son, and I was trying to find out, are there any benefits or anything maybe that I can probably receive or anything like that, you know, from him being in the military, you know, when he was a young man?
And probably not. And again, I'm smiling a little bit because Ken and I were talking before we came on the air. I can't help. Most of the people that call and have questions are like the questions we've had tonight, and there are no benefits that are available. And I don't think that there's a benefit available to you, sir. There are some benefits available to children, but hardly any.
What's time limit?
There is no time limit to file a claim at the VA, but you only get benefits from the day that you file.
I see.
So we've had cases that go back. I've had cases that we filed in 2016, for instance, that were awarded back to 1997, and that are still pending because we think they should be awarded back to 1987.
Right.
And they have something called clear and unmistakable error, Ken, which I'm sure that you, as a plaintiff's lawyer, would love to have. You could go back and say, hey, that court decided this case wrong, and it's 30 years later, and you get the case. But so there's really not a statute of limitations in these cases, and you can resurrect old claims. It's very hard to resurrect an old claim, but if you get the right set of facts, as you know, you can do that.
Sure. Wow.
Okay, let's take another break. When we come back, we'll have more of a conversation about veterans' rights and benefits. Okay, so I'm showing you now what our topics are going to be the next 3 weeks out here at LawCall. Next weekend, November 17th, will be the Ask Us Anything show. It's always a fun time to hear your calls and questions. November 24th will be divorce and child custody matters. And then on December the 1st, can you believe it? We're running into December pretty soon. Slips, trips, and falls. That's going to be the topic then. So please join us for all of those shows and much more coming your way here at LawCall. As you're watching this evening, if you'd like to talk with our guest attorney, his name is Doug Friedman. His phone number is 205-879-3033 or doug@friedmanfirmpc.com. That will also be on our website, so if you're not getting this information, go to our website a little bit later. And of course, Ken Riley, he's here representing his law firm, which is Ferris, Riley & Pitt, and they're here in Birmingham. That office number is 205-324-1212 or deliveringjustice.com. And Ken, I want to just pause for just a minute in the show because I know this is sort of a little bit out of your wheelhouse, dealing with veterans benefits and rights. So I want you to tell the folks at home, if they're watching, the kind of cases that you guys handled.
Right. So, I mean, that's a great example. You know, I guess I would say that not all lawyers are alike. We are an accident, injury, and wrongful death firm. Those are the type cases that we handle. But when it comes to something like veterans benefits, that's something that Doug handles. And what we say is, you know, if you've got a personal injury matter or a wrongful death issue, we say if you've got a relationship with Doug through a VA claim or something else like that, call Doug and let Doug run your case by someone that he trusts to handle your particular type of case. And that goes for virtually everything. You may have a family matter. Call Doug. He'll get you to a family lawyer that he trusts, because it's kind of like going to a doctor in some sense. You know, you can go to a general practitioner, a general physician, and they can refer you to people who can help you, okay? They refer you to specialists. And so there are specialists, so to speak, in the law who focus on particular areas. And what we say is contact the lawyer that you trust, contact your local lawyer, and let them get you in the hands of someone who they know is competent to handle any certain specialty of the law. So
good.
That's what we
Good
say.
Deal. Thank you very much. Let's talk to Marvin, who is calling us tonight here in Birmingham. So, hey, Marvin.
Hello, how you doing?
Hi, good.
Okay, good. The question that I have, I am a Vietnam veteran.
Thank you.
And thank you. With Vietnam, I've noticed that the Vietnam veterans are not treated fairly as the veterans that are coming home now. And I was wondering what can be done, because I went to Vietnam twice, and I have 3 Purple Hearts, but the benefits that I'm getting is just not what I would think I would have. Sure. And we were called baby killers and all this. So we're not treated right. So I was just wondering what can be done.
Yeah, I remember, because that's my era, I remember the vets coming back to the San Francisco airport and being spat on by people when they came back, and that's the only group of vets that's ever had that. So I understand you know, very well what you're talking about. The amount of money that is paid to vets is set by the government. I think I said before that the maximum benefit is about $3,200. You might get special monthly compensation, like one of our callers was asking about, but generally it's going to be $3,200. And a lot of the people that I speak to think that they're entitled to more money because of how bad they are feeling, and I understand that. But if I ask them, have you looked at the law to see what you have to prove to get a higher benefit, hardly anyone has ever done that. And once you max out at 100, or you get individual unemployability, which is also a way to get a benefit equal to 100 without proving 100%, once you get to that point, there's not anything else that usually can be done. So I'm sorry about that, and my heart goes out to you as you know, as a Vietnam vet. I understand.
Real quick, Doug, something kind of dawned on me. Let's say that someone is receiving a certain benefit. Let's say it's $2,500 a month. and their condition worsens, can you go back in and try to get additional benefit for that worsening condition?
Yes, you can go at any time and file and ask for an increase. And once you're already receiving a rated condition, once you've already rated for something, that means that you've proven an event or injury in the service, you've proven your current medical condition, you've proven the nexus. So that's an easier case.
You've got a floor.
Right. You just have to prove that you've gotten worse.
Gotcha.
And that you're entitled to the next rung on the VA ladder.
Very good.
Thank you, Marvin. We appreciate your time, and of course, we appreciate your service to our country. Dwayne in Jasper is next. Hey, Dwayne, how are you?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Hey, thank you for staying up and giving us a call.
Thank you. My question is, I'm a veteran and I was in the Alabama National Guard, but I only spent 4 years in the Guard. Am I entitled to any kind of veterans benefit? And if so, what? And how do I go about doing it?
So Guard and Reserve duty is really complicated and special. You could have a heart attack that's caused by your weekend duty. If the heart attack occurs Sunday while you're on weekend duty, it's covered. If you have the heart attack Monday morning at work, it's not covered. So it's very complicated. So the first question I ask Guard members, I'll ask you this, is were you on active duty at all, other than your weekend and the 2 weeks over the summer?
No, I was not.
So chances are you're not going to be able to get a benefit unless you actually were injured during the 2 day, the weekend service, or your 2 weeks over the summer.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I needed to know.
So that's different from our example earlier when someone may have contracted or been diagnosed with cancer. I guess
That's
that
right.
wouldn't really matter.
And I should have, it has to be active duty.
Yeah, I got you.
You have to be on active duty when you get hurt or when you get sick. And the active duty is funny for the reserve and guardsmen, because their chances are they're going to be diagnosed before they go for the weekend or before they go for the 2 weeks. And so that's what makes it so hard. But the example I gave you about the heart attack is the one that I give all the time, because that's actually
what happens.
How crazy it is. It's a very arcane and Byzantine set of rules that you actually have to memorize, and a lot of it doesn't make any sense, but it made sense, I guess, to the people who promulgated the rules in the beginning.
Well, there's good and bad probably with all of it.
That's true. I agree with that.
So we've got just a few minutes left in the show. Anything that we haven't covered that, or maybe you want to go back over to make sure the folks at home get a better understanding of this?
Well, I encourage people to file for benefits if they have any doubts at all. Again, that's usually done through a veteran service office like the VFW or the DAV. There's only one VA office in the whole state of Alabama. A lot of people don't understand that. It's on Perry Hill Road in Montgomery. If you actually want to go to the VA and hand them something, that's where you have to go. Everywhere else is not a actual VA office. So go and file and see what happens. And then if you get denied or you don't get a rating that you like, consider calling a lawyer or a representative who can help you with this, like me.
Yeah. Well, it's complicated, so you obviously probably need someone like Doug to help you, and somebody that's well versed in the law that understands it. So thank you for coming on and sharing your expertise.
It's been my pleasure. I've really enjoyed this. I hadn't met Mr. Riley before, and it's my pleasure.
Good deal.
Good. Thank you so much, Doug.
Have a great night. Thank you to all of our veterans. We hope you have a blessed day tomorrow. We'll see you for LawCall next Sunday night.